Hello and welcome to another week 6 of Raucus Attempts Esports. Hope you're all well and navigating the changing lockdown situation as well as you can. Hopefully as well as I managed the first half of this lap, not the last part. So this week was at Detroit. It's not a track I've ever been to before, so it's nice to see some new territory. Bit of a street circuit, a bit like Montreal, very kind of tight. Not perhaps my favourite of the tracks that I've raced, but after last week's shocker, it was just nice to have a bit of a reset. And I think because it was so obviously a tight street circuit, people, admittedly not these guys, were holding back a little bit, as was I, just to get around the lap. Because it doesn't take much to make a fraction of a second error, and that's you done for the race in a wall, which doesn't feel the best when you're trying to push flat out, because you never feel you really can, but you just have to take the results and try and just kind of grind it out, or just kind of survive, do what you have to do really. This one I was doing quite well, actually, for a first race of the week, but just took too much out of that corner. The walls just come to meet you so quickly around here. You don't really have a chance to get out of it before it's too late if you're in the wrong place. Second race though, qualified for second. I've been doing a lot better with my testing before I start racing in earnest, and in particular this week really seems to have paid off and gone to be second race straight in at second place. It's definitely an improvement for my kind of performances, and actually this week I did actually manage to keep it to four races, so I didn't actually have to extend, which just saves so much more time out of your week. It's half the amount of time that you need to put into actual races. I think that's what, at least maybe an hour and a half per race, so you're looking at maybe 6 hours minimum that you've saved by achieving the result in the first 4 races. A lot less crashes. Here we're just on an onboard lap, just riding around the circuit. This is me just sitting in second place, as I do for the entire of the race actually. This horrible little corner here is a little bit of an off camber, just drops you down, sucks you into the concrete there. I think that costs a lot of people their races around here, finding whether to go second or third, keep the power. I do lift slightly, but just use that as one continuous corner, and then it's this massive straight all the way down. You've then got quite a technical area to maintain the speed, so you kind of want to come off early and then accelerate through the first corner, or at least trace the throttle, and then you've got to tuck it back in. This kind of just sweeps you out into the wall, so if you're carrying too much speed, which is very easy to do, especially if you're trying to catch up to the guy in front, you just get pulled straight into that wall, which is a complete wipe out at that the kind of speeds you're doing there, about 120 miles an hour. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes on a kind of computer game, but the kind of, when you're sat down in the cockpit view with the steering wheel, it does help make you realise exactly how dangerous the situation is going to be. If you feel like you're on the edge of balance and you feel like you're going too quickly, you most definitely are. For the most part, actually, when you're going fastest, most of the time is when it feels quite slow because you're in complete control. Here, I mean, classic first corner shenanigans. There's always one in each week. I think the first race I came back from, my crash till 9th. This one, I was just completely out of it. The repairs took about 20 minutes. By the time all that was done, the race was pretty much over. So that was just a complete wipe off the board. But I've already banked my second, so anything is a bonus at this point, because I know I'm not doing anything more than 4 races. So I'm trying to pick up a decent result here. I've not qualified well. I've qualified in 10th. I scrubbed my first quali lap which is very easy to do, just to put a tyre wrong or touch a wall. I think I touched a wall in this instance. I was on for quite a good time, but 10th was I just put a banker lap in the second time round, just to make sure I wasn't quite right at the back. But yeah, coming through the pack, it's always very, very busy. I'm deliberately trying to just stay out of trouble. I'm still pushing and I'm managing to dodge a few things, but this guy here in the green, he's pretty evenly paced with me anyway, so I'm not really trying anything too aggressive. He's not slowing me up massively, and I just want to let everyone's first lap just settle down. Anyone who's going to crash, let them do it, get out of the way, get out of their system, and hopefully clear up the track ahead of us. Carrying the speed in all of the races with Skip Barber is quite important, just because of the way it's got quite a slow burn to the torque and the power. And like if you drop too much, there's not an instant hit of power that you can put down and just regain all that kind of lost momentum. You do suffer if you lose speed. So there's some big straights on this. The track's very slippy. It feels quite chalky surface to drive. Very easy to kind of just slip too far out of a braking zone and you're just completely all out of shape. And then someone's right up the back of you very, very quickly. But because you're trying so hard not to make an error on a very tight circuit, and you're not driving at that 110%, if you know what you're doing, obviously he doesn't, you're less likely to have a crash perhaps than at some other circuits, just because of that extra caution you're putting in. That guy saw me coming and obviously thought he didn't have as much damage as he did and tried to carry on, and as I've done in previous weeks, just binned it into a wall, and you just don't realise until you start driving in anger just how much your car has taken a punishment. Up the road ahead, thankfully this week, not immediately in front of me, they've had a couple of crashes, people going off. This guy looks like he had a lag spike right into a chicane, just completely totaled in a second. Very unfortunate for him. Very fortunate for me. You can see just going through there in the back of shot. So I've picked up quite a few places just from other people's mistakes here. I know green here is a bit of a target for me. We go top and tail for quite a few laps, particularly with this guy in the middle, and it looks like he's got a bit of a broken wing, or he's forgotten to put the right fuel mix in, which I did in a previous race as well. Either way, he pits out of the way and releases me into third, and everything is kind of cleared away in front of us. This is kind of definitely a good few laps in, and yeah, it's just a nice easy drive to the finish at third. I did push, but I didn't quite catch him. But yeah, 176th, and yeah, that's quite a step up, but still on target to crack the top 100 hopefully, and we'll see you next week.